I guess the question, I know you've talked about your book a lot, but what was it like when you went back to Manila? You just launched or I guess launched the um, paperback recently. You got to go back. Were you what was the reception like there? How do they how do they how do they treat you?
It was great. I was back for the entire month of May, and every time I get to go back, it's great for me. I mean, I hated having to leave the Philippines in the first place, so getting to come back, especially this time, National Geographic was paying because I was going out there to work on a documentary. It's going to be aired in the Philippines and hopefully outside of the Philippines about basketball. So they paid for the trip. I got to see most of the players and coaches and friends I had met while I was living in the country. And yeah, the paperback came out, and it was really nice to launch it out there and actually launch it in Manila before it came out in the States because it was sort of, an acknowledgement that this book is really it's about the Philippines, and it's nice to sort of give Filipino readers a chance to say we got it first.
Rafe, it seems there's an avalanche of NBA superstars coming to the Philippines soon. How excited is the country about this, and will this vault basketball up another level of popularity? It's already insanely popular there, but will this just make it go up another level?
This event that's coming up actually the 23rd and 24th, so I think that's what Saturday and Sunday. It's I almost can't believe that it's happening. The players that are supposed to be going, and many of them have already tweeted it out. So the ones that are tweeting about it, you can pretty much assume are going. Tyreek Evans, Kevin Durant, Derek Williams, who else? James Harden. Chris Paul's supposed to be there. Kobe's supposed to come back. He was in the country last week. The idea that those guys are going to go there all at the same time and play, I almost never thought that would happen. In fact, I mean, even earlier this week when people in the Philippines were saying it was going to happen, I didn't believe them because over the years there have been so many rumors when people get sort of over enthusiastic about the chance of bringing an NBA player over. In 2006, I remember one of the PBA teams called Red Bull at the time said they had Carl Malone signed as an import, and there was a week of news stories about it, and then nothing happened. So I was really sort of dubious about this at first. The fact that they pulled it off, they figured out all of the legal things, they arranged things for all these players to get out there. I mean, that's a huge achievement, and I can't think of an exhibition event like this that's happened where this caliber, this many NBA players of this caliber have showed up in any foreign country except for a serious event like the World Championships or the Olympics or qualifiers. This is huge, and people there are genuinely losing their minds over it. I mean, I've seen when one player has showed up. I remember I watched Gilbert Arenas come through the country in 2008, and it was like people were just crawling all over each other to get close to him. And then this was just at mall events where he would shoot a few layups and shake hands. Now these guys are really playing. It's People are really excited about it, and I don't know if it'll make basketball more popular, but it will make people. It will make this event is going to be huge. It's going to be one of the biggest basketball events in the country in the past decade, probably.
Ray, first of all, I want to say anybody who hasn't read Pacific Rims needs to pick it up. It's an excellent read, one of the better basketball books you're ever going to read. Stylistically, obviously there are huge physical attributes that are different between there and in the United States, but stylistically, what is the difference in the basketball there?
Um, well, it's interesting because a lot of the time when the quick take that people come out with when they first watch professional basketball in the Philippines that it looks a lot like American basketball. It looks like the NBA, they say. Partly because a lot of teams have Filipino American players who were raised here and sort of have you can sort of the way they handle the ball, the way they carry themselves, they look like they've been playing the American game most of their lives, and they have. And also because the PBA was modeled after the NBA. It was created in 1975 when there was no other technically professional league in the world other than the NBA. And they adopted the 24-second clock. They adopted they play by rules that are much more similar to NBA rules than FIBA rules. Um, so you look at it and think, oh, this is like the NBA, this is like American basketball. But if you're in the country for a while, and if you ask American players who have been there, it certainly doesn't feel to them like they have just, sort of walked. It's a smooth transition. There are little parts of the game that are quite different. I mean, I think the most stylistically, the most sort of graceful, or the most aesthetically pleasing difference is that it's a little more. In some ways, there's a little more finesse in it, and what I mean is players don't always, when they go to the basket, they aren't always trying to just sort of power through and finish as strong as possible, because they're not. A lot of guys are not going to be finishing above the rim, so you see the sort of almost impossible looking layups, or layups that we would call circus layups. Here are moves that Filipino players practice, and they'll do these sort of. If you look on YouTube, if you search for guys like named Samboy Lim or Vergel, spelled like Virgil Meneses, they go up in the air and like quadruple pump, do like a 360, and shoot the ball from under their armpit, and it goes in again and again and again. And moves like that, even though they look ridiculous, they're called, sometimes in the Philippines they say like the magical shot. They happen a lot. The players can really execute them. So it's fun to watch those kind of moves. And there are some players who do it better than anyone else in the league, but all players have a little bit of that in their game. And that's something that seems truly Filipino. And then I would say it's also just a very tricky league. Every basketball all over the world has, sort of tricks of the trade and little dirty things that players do. But there's certain, in the Philippines, you get a lot of finger holding, which most American players say doesn't happen in the U.S. If you set a screen and then turn to roll, like someone is holding your index finger, and you can't go anywhere. It's just funny that they're not holding your wrist, they're not holding your jersey. It's like they have their index finger. Little details like that are, I guess, they're fun to talk about. They're fun to think about. I know from experience when someone's holding your finger in the middle of a play, you're not having fun.